Sitting in your driveway and having your dashboard casually offer to role-play a salary negotiation with your boss feels very weird. Turning a family vehicle into this sort of high-powered mobile processing center happens overnight when General Motors pushes Google Gemini 1 into 4 million eligible U.S. vehicles. We are talking model year 2022 and newer Cadillacs, Chevrolets, Buicks, and GMCs equipped with Google built-in.
Requiring an active OnStar connection and a signed-in Google Play Store account just to function out of the gate?
The era of memorized robotic voice commands is completely dead. Saying "call mom" or "navigate home" feels archaic now. You no longer speak to your car like a programmer executing command lines. Now, you dictate a text to Anna about bringing dessert and demand the inclusion of a cupcake emoji.
Parsing that conversational context alongside metadata requests forces the vehicle to understand human idiosyncrasies. The natural language processor differentiates between referencing a physical cupcake and demanding the Unicode rendering of that pastry in a text message.
The system curates the entire cabin environment based on vague vibes. You request a 3-hour upbeat road trip playlist for the kids. Then you demand the newest tracks in Dolby Atmos for the select Cadillac models supporting studio-grade listening.
Or you ask for a summary of the latest episode of OnStar's Tell Me What Happened podcast while waiting in the carpool line. Maintaining context across those shifting variables requires massive active memory.
A driver asks for directions to the nearest post office, adds a coffee shop, abandons both for a barbecue joint less than a mile away, and finishes by demanding calming music.
The context window holds those geographic constraints, updates them dynamically based on arbitrary whims, executes an entertainment control command, and adjusts the routing algorithms instantly.
This aggressive multitasking fundamentally breaks the driving experience. Prepping for a stressful workplace confrontation while dynamically rerouting for smoked brisket turns the car into an anxiety-inducing mobile cubicle.
Forcing the brain to switch context like that drains cognitive resources. Evaluating the brainstorming features reveals a deliberate push into productivity software disguised as passenger entertainment. A user asks the vehicle to plan a warm family holiday, specifies a desire for adventure, and prohibits long flights.
The vehicle processes geographic data, climate averages, flight durations, and family-friendly activity indexes in real time.
Managing a travel itinerary at 70 miles per hour forces the driver to participate in a dangerous multivariable data synthesis exercise. Combining spatial awareness with complex memory recall is inherently dangerous.
If the AI handles a chaotic family road trip, Google and GM are positioning this exact intelligence as a logistics manager for commercial seats. Landscapers, service technicians, delivery couriers, and long-haul operators gain hyper-specific routing capabilities.
Planning a day with 3 service stops, demanding the least expensive fuel along that specific route, and requiring the fuel tank to be strictly half full by the final destination solves a complex mathematical puzzle instantly.
The AI calculates physical distance, factors in real-time fuel efficiency for a specific payload, scrapes live pricing data from gas stations, and weighs the financial cost of deviating from the fastest route against the savings at the pump. Every commercial truck becomes a high-frequency trading algorithm optimizing for diesel instead of stocks.
Locating trailer-friendly parking requires an entirely different layer of spatial reasoning. The AI understands the physical dimensions of the specific vehicle, recognizes the required turning radius for an attached trailer, cross-references satellite imagery for parking lot sizes, and filters out locations with strict municipal size restrictions.
That makes sense.
Extracting 3 decades of legacy telematics feeds the generative AI an unparalleled proprietary dataset. Connecting those historical data streams like heartbreaking events, steering wheel angles, fuel injection rates, and GPS trails to modern language models creates an inescapable web of data collection.
General Motors' Global Vice President of Product Management, Tim Twardall, credits this scale entirely to the connected foundation OnStar built.
Later this year, GM plans a custom-built AI with encyclopedic knowledge of every proprietary vehicle component to anticipate driver needs.
You are driving a data harvesting machine disguised as a luxury SUV. The exact same Gemini intelligence organizing your road trip bypasses the clipboard completely in the digital workspace. Generating fully formatted files directly within the chat interface removes the manual labor of document creation.
Users globally generate PDFs, Microsoft Word files, Excel spreadsheets, Google Workspace files, .csv files, LaTeX documents, plain text, RTF, and Markdown on demand.
Exporting a budget proposal straight to a .xlsx file involves the AI populating columns, structuring rows, defining hidden cell formulas, and assigning data validation rules without any manual human intervention.
Consolidating a massive collaboration history into a single-page PDF requires advanced summarization algorithms, parsing disparate communication threads and forcing them into a rigid visual hierarchy.
Eliminating the formatting step entirely skips the baking process and results in a finished, frosted cake thrown directly at your head. The manual process of building an Excel sheet forces a human to verify the math as they painstakingly input the data. You type the equal sign, you type SUM, you highlight the cells, and your brain registers the relationship between those numbers.
Generating the final asset completely removes that tactile verification. You demand a budget, and the system delivers a locked grid of numbers. Trusting a natively generated .xlsx file demands total faith in the invisible logic the AI applied to the data structure. The workflow abandons the drafting phase. The human assumes the role of an editor reviewing a completed product.
Generating a LaTeX document represents a massively significant technical achievement. Writing LaTeX involves compiling raw markup code to produce high-quality typographical formatting used heavily in scientific and academic publishing.
Gemini actively authors the code, structures complex mathematical formulas, formats academic citations, and outputs a ready-to-compile file in a single step.
Applying this generation capability directly to Google Workspace files deeply integrates the AI into daily corporate operations. Creating a Google Doc or a Google Slide presentation from a single prompt standardizes the output across millions of users.
The AI determines the aesthetic hierarchy, chooses the bullet points, formats the headers, and selects the visual layout. You lose the messy, creative friction of staring at a blank page and deciding how to structure your argument.
Automating the logistics of a road trip and automating the creation of a budget proposal rely on the identical premise of delegating complex planning to a centralized intelligence. General Motors removes the friction of physical movement with dynamic routing based on historical telematics.
Gemini removes the friction of digital movement with instant file generation based on vast language models. Both companies aggressively target the space between a human thought and a finalized execution. The human provides the destination, and the machine constructs the entire path.
Your car possesses encyclopedic knowledge of its mechanical components, intimately understands your routing habits, catalogs your music tastes, and monitors your climate control preferences. At the exact same time, Gemini independently generates complex Excel spreadsheets, beautifully formatted PDFs, dynamic presentations, and raw data files. Soon, your vehicle will automatically compile its telematics data and email you a flawlessly formatted PDF critiquing your aggressive braking habits, mapping your daily fast food detours, evaluating your routing efficiency, and calculating precisely how much money your poor driving decisions cost you this quarter.
Right.
Drive safe.